So here we go with my interview with Irish Bobby Clancy. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me on. This is really neat. Happy to see there's something like this locally.
Absolutely. So if you don't know who Bobby is, he's a Border City wrestling legend, as they would say. Uh, we want to talk about yourself, your career, and how you got into wrestling. So first off, were you a fan growing up?
Oh, absolutely. From the age of 12, it was the first time I ever saw wrestling on TV, and the moment my eyes, I was captivated, of course, and right then and there, I knew this is something I wanted to be.
Absolutely. Did you have any other background in sports growing up?
I did. I played hockey, house league. What was it, 8 years? Yeah, 8 years.
Of
I went
course,
to the hockey clinics. I did speed skating and all that good stuff. I loved the speed of it. That's why I played hockey, and I think that's what caught my eye in wrestling as well, because, there's a lot of speed in wrestling, right?
All right, so they say back in the day it was really hard to try and find a place to train and to get into wrestling. Nowadays it's a little different, but how did you get into training?
You know what? I just, right place, right time, I guess. I got lucky. I went to W.D. Lowe. That was the high school I went to. It's no longer here. They've shut it down in the city. But I joined amateur wrestling because I heard from an old local wrestling legend himself. He's passed on, George Cannon. I'd sent him countless letters, snail mail back in the day. Some of you guys listening to this won't even know what that is. But I sent him letters saying I was interested in wrestling. Of course, I was only 13 at the time. But he responded back and basically told me to get amateur experience. It would help you out with a base. And I want to do anything that I could, any way, shape, or form to propel me to getting my dream, right?
Absolutely.
So, anyways, long story short, at W.D. Lowe, there was a wrestling team. And then, of course, I joined that as soon as I could. And the one coach, who was a very important part of, beginning of BCW, was Doug Chevalier. He was also known as the Canadian Destroyer. He was the wrestling coach there, and I started doing the amateur wrestling. I didn't know for the first week or two that he had a pro background. But then a buddy of mine got talking to him, then he went and told me. And I became really interested in Doug. And I'm like 134 pounds back then, grade 9, just, a little bone rack, if you will. And, I'm like, hey, teach me to be a pro, teach me to be a pro. And he fluffed me off for the first year, just, basically thought I was full of whatever, maybe just a pipe dream. And the next year, I'd put on about 15 pounds over the summer, which, that's a lot, going from 134 up to, was it 150-ish? Anyways, he saw that I was serious, and then he started, after amateur class, or practice, which is generally about 2 hours a night, he'd beat me up. We'd learn, he'd teach me professional wrestling, but basically just beat the crap out of me. Is what he did. But, I learned to bump and sell and all that stuff. And then, of course, we'd go to the weight room after that. I'd go home. You'd think I'd be crashed and tired. But, of course, back in the day, being a fan, yes, I had all my walls plastered, literally, with pictures of all my favorite wrestlers. You didn't see any wall. You just saw wrestlers somewhere, right? So anyways, I wouldn't sleep at night. I just start the day over, do it all again, just because I was getting the train to be a professional wrestler. And it took how many years? Well, I actually broke in. A gentleman by the name of Mike McKee, otherwise known as Big Mac, gave me my first chance. Otis Apollo, who's another Border City Wrestling alumni, Aragon Otis Apollo, him and I went to high school together, and we had a tryout with the Canadian Destroyer out at Sully's Gym, which is where guys like Edge and Christian and Joe Legend have come from. Ron Hutchinson was there, Sweet Daddy Siki was there when we tried out, but we tried out for Big Mac, and then 18 years old, I wrestled on a little tour over the summer of 1990 with Big Mac. I met Johnny Canine there, and of course we had all saw him on TV growing up, or Bruiser Bedlam, as some people know him as. But we were pretty awestruck, and we were green as can be, and they picked on us and made fun of us, and back then I had my thumb in my mouth over it a lot, but now I look back and I laugh.
Wow, that's incredible. I would have never imagined that all that would be going down right here in our own backyard. And I myself am a martial artist. I love like amateur wrestling. So
Awesome.
when you said that, I was like my face just lit up. The whole time
Really?
you're talking there, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is unbelievable. Yeah, I never knew. So,
Yeah.
so you trained with Otis Apollo. I wanted to talk a little bit about him, and we'll get into
Okay.
that later. But who else was in your training class?
Well, someone you know quite well, Scott Demore.
Mm-hmm.
And this wasn't when we were first training. It was just myself, Apollo, and Doug. And we traveled on Max Tour, and then we didn't do much. For the next year, we Doug and I decided to open a school, and then of course Scott, like I was mentioning, someone you know quite well, Scott Demore, was one of our first students there. And then there was Chris Pilon. He had also showed up, Smooth Mover.
Was that Grandma's basement?
That's him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, there was him, another good friend of mine, Ray Dupe. He ended up getting into a really bad car accident. He ended up refereeing my match at the Rock Show at LaSalle Arena, which is pretty cool. Something him and I got to do together as far as wrestling, because he, like I said, he's a close friend of mine. And he kind of got a bad little run there, But anyways, he was part of that class as well. We took that money and we built a ring. With what a horrible ring! You might as well wrestle on the cement floor. The give was equal, because we didn't have springs on the bottom like you need, and it was just basically a floor with padding on it, and it was tough, man. It would knock the wind out of you, 9 times out of 10 when you took a bump, right? But so there was Scotty and myself, and Scott threw me around. He used to love doing the tilt-a-whirl slam, and of course I was his guinea pig. And we laugh about it now, and he also appreciates me for that, because I took it umpteen times in a night at school for him, because that was his thing back then. That flipping power slam, man. That it was quite a ride. Anyways, but we had a lot of fun. One time, Scotty and myself, we were in this warehouse, and they had someone had broken into the warehouse, and the cops were there. Well, it was just Scott and myself and Doug there. And Doug's telling us to lay it in, look good, we're protecting the business kind of thing. And, man, I laid in, I'm driving forearms into Scott, and then he goes to bump, and I'm still driving forearms like I'm hitting his chest, and I got him right in the face, man. And the cops looked like they couldn't believe it, because I just whacked him so hard. I mean, I didn't mean to, but, man, I clobbered him.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, little things like that.
Yeah, it's crazy how it's changed, eh? Like you said, you said Doug Chevalier was telling you to protect the business and to keep the bumps going, right?
Yes.
Whereas now, that might not happen.
No.
Did you agree or disagree?
I totally agree. Now it's I hate to say this thing. Sorry, so cliche, but they say kayfabe is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is. Unfortunately, I mean, you don't protect the business like you used to. Where when a guy would come to our school way back in the day, we'd beat the living out of him, and then if he came back again, what we would do is we'd smarten him up and say, "Oh yeah, this is all a work, man. Welcome to the business."
Mm-hmm. Well, in
a
some
lot
ways,
of guys wouldn't come back, right?
Yeah, in some ways, rightfully so. In others, I see what you mean. Okay, moving on.
Yep.
You did do some work with the WWF, correct?
Oh yeah. Well, Scott has had such a huge part of my career. I mean, and many people around here. He got us booked. Here I am, 21 years old. Just shy of my 21st birthday, and I'm on WWF TV. We're wrestling in front of 18,000 people in Columbus, Ohio. It was Wrestling Challenge, I believe. Fighting this guy, Adam Baum. It was incredible. I mean, there's a sea of humanity, and oh my God, I made it. If I never did anything else, I realized my dream right there that day. If I never did anything else in the wrestling business, would I be content? Not necessarily, but it was so awesome. And then Apollo and Demore, they fought the Steiner brothers on that same show. But again, this is Scotty. We went up to St. Louis, Missouri, with Al Snow, Mickey Doyle, Professor Maxwell. We all went out there. There was I believe it was like a 72-hour wrestle fest for an NWA promoter. I believe he was ill. I can't recall 100% if I'm right on that or not, but it was something along those lines. There was everybody that could be anybody in the wrestling business there. Talent agents, scouts, Ted DiBiase, $1 Million Man, Mike Rotunda, IRS. Oh my God, everybody you could pretty well think of off the top of my head. But so Scott went around and started making contacts there. because he's smart like that. He just started talking to people, and I'm running out getting autographs and pictures and all that, and that's where I was at, right? That was fun for me, But anyway, so that's how we kind of got into the WWF, and then we got lucky again, or fortunate, however you want to look at it. I mean, everything with wrestling. I mean, it's just been I've been very fortunate. A lot of people won't even make it to a wrestling school in their lives, it might be a dream, So with what I've done, we got into Pro Wrestling Illustrated's top 500 wrestlers in the world. I think I was in there 6 times in a row, if I recall.
No way.
And again, that's, it is an honor. Wrestling is, it's not for everyone. Not everybody can do it. It's a dance you're doing. You want to take care of everybody to the best of your ability as well while you're doing this dance, whoever you're in there with. But, you want to be an entertainer and a performer in the safest way possible, right?
Absolutely. All right, so you're known as Irish Bobby Clancy, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
How did that nickname come to be?
Well, again, going back to the old snail mail days, I just started sending letters out with pictures, a little bio of myself to promotions. And what was this? I can't remember his name right now. But this one gentleman started asking me, what did I have any ideas for a name? And of course, being a huge Rowdy Roddy Piper fan, I wanted to call myself the Pied Piper, but an Irish character. A kind of little different homage to him, if you will. But right away, he vetoed that, said it sounded too cartoonish. And then he said, "How about the name Irish Bobby Clancy?" Which, when I read that, I was like, "That's not so bad." And I'll tell you why again. Similar to the Roddy Piper was another, someone I really looked up to and actually got to be around quite a bit was Irish Mickey Doyle. So when he said Irish Bobby Clancy, I was like, I love that name, right?
Yeah, that's what I was anticipating you to say, actually. I know Scott takes a lot of inspiration from him, so I thought you would
a lot of it
along the way.
Yeah.
Did he spend a lot of time at the Can-Am school with you guys?
He did. Him and Denny Cass was another one. Spent countless hours with us, teaching us, how to bump and spot. Just, they gave of themselves and just to make us better and, and get us out there and help us to shine more. Always positive with those guys. Like Mickey always telling us to do the same. Do that thing you do. He just, he's just, I don't know. Mickey's Mickey. He's a one of a kind and makes you feel really good about yourself and what you're doing, no matter what. Even though I was an arrogant prick back then, a little stuck on definitely very stuck on myself, but, he still put up with me and Apollo, because Apollo was very similar to me that way. We had big heads. But, again, there was a lot of love from those guys, and they really looked out for us, bringing up the new guys in the business.
It's always good to have coaches like that, eh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was awesome.
Obviously, I was a little young back in their heyday, but I've heard so much about them just from guys like Scott and a lot of people praising them, so... Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about them. So, how long did you wrestle for? Or are you still wrestling?
I've had some life issues, I'll say like that. And I don't even mind commenting on them. I don't care. At these days, I'm almost 40, I'll be 44 June 2nd. I'm an open book now. I don't care. Life experience for me, it's not look how big my what is. Mm-hmm. This is my story. This is what I went through. Yeah. Maybe you can learn from it, So I wrestled off and on. Bottom line, I got heavy into, I had a drug addiction. So my priorities changed, I'll say it like that. And wrestling became a back burner, So I missed a few years, right? Off and on. Now, if I get to wrestle for BCW, a couple times in a year, that's awesome. I go to the school when I can, try to get my bumps in and maybe, give a little bit of guidance or direction to someone that might need it. If they even want to listen to the old guy, but, it's still fun. I mean, it's in my blood. It's in my veins. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's too many guys in the business that wouldn't say deep down that they still love it. I still love the ropes, love running the ropes. I mean, my knees aren't anywhere near as good as they used to be, but I can still go fast when I got a nice knee brace on. And I like that. Like I told you earlier, I love the quickness about wrestling. That because I'm just a little guy, but I've got some quickness. And there's a place I could show it off. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a passion of yours.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so you talked a little bit about going to the Can-Am Wrestling School. So you are involved in training the younger students at all?
I go there for my own personal training.
Okay.
But it's how can I word this? I mean, they don't mind if I offer them advice. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not running the show. Don't
Okay.
misquote me by any means. But it's just cool. They still let me come back, and if I have something to say, they at least listen politely. Anyways, whether I make sense or not, I don't know. But,
I'm sure a lot of them know of you if they're from Windsor, from going to the BCW shows.
Yeah, I guess some of them do. I don't know. I don't. Like I said, back in the day, I had a hell of an ego. Now, if someone tells me that's awesome, and it means so much. But I don't fish for it. I don't really worry about it.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I actually have a picture of me and you from when I was a kid. I gotta tweet it out later after this interview. It's from one of the shows at the Riverfront you guys used to do.
Okay.
I was like maybe 7 years old. I was just going through stuff not too long ago, and I'm like, that's Bobby Clancy. I'm going to interview that guy.
That's awesome.
I think it was the one with Jim Neinhart. So that tells you how long ago that was. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Jim Neidhart was there. I think King Kong Bundy, Bruiser Bedlam, Lombardi, Brooklyn Brawler.
Yep. I remember all those guys coming through. Not so much Bedlam, but when you mentioned him earlier, that's when I was like, no way, you got to be kidding me. Because he's just a legend in his own day.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were really lucky again. I mean, we got to travel with him, me and Demore and Apollo. We ran some miles with him for at least a year and a half.
That's awesome.
Just crazy. I couldn't even tell you the stories on this show because he's just crazy. Johnny is God bless him. We love him. We miss him. He's gone on vacation now. I'll say it like that for a while. But yeah, man, he was a lot of fun. And someone, wow, as long as he's on your good side, he's a great guy.
That's incredible. Okay, you mentioned Otis Apollo earlier.
Yeah.
You and him are the first BCW Tag Team Champions, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, again, an honor bestowed upon us. I mean, we didn't even know how big BCW was going to be back then. It was just, man, we're happy to be booked locally. It was, they were drawing some people. The crowds are hot, like usual, like always, even today. So much bigger today, the crowds. But, I mean, back then, like I said, we didn't know what we were really a part of, But, I mean, again, really cool that, we got to be the first honorary champs,
Mm-hmm. And now they've actually revived the championships in a tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's awesome. I'm happy to see those titles back because tag team wrestling has been literally off the map for a while, off the grid, and to bring it back. I mean, I'm seeing some guys out there now, like the fraternity. I love their characters. There's guys like Joe Coleman and Idris. What's his name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Action Jackson.
Big afro.
Yeah.
Action Jackson. Yeah. But I love, they're doing that gym gimmick and they're wearing the tight tank tops and the short shorts. And they look great. I mean, they're in phenomenal shape, both those guys, and they're entertaining to watch. As well as the fraternity, they're a couple of characters. Your typical, they're these guys, these obnoxious fraternity people. I'm looking forward to seeing all these guys in the ring with this tag team tournament. It's going to be good, and again, I'm so happy to see it back because tag team wrestling has been out of the loop for a while, and it needs to come back. It's a whole other art in itself.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming at least for BCW to revive those tag team championships.
Yeah, absolutely, and the belts are gorgeous. I've seen pictures, and they're really nice.
Yeah, we've come a long way, eh?
Absolutely, long way. And what's it been? What are we? 23 years.
Yeah, 1993, I believe. It was the same year I was born, so that's why I remember so well.
We're at 23 years now, man.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
It was in April of 93, I believe.
April 93, then, yeah, we've already passed the 23-year mark.
Yep.
Okay, great. So we talked about BCW and the tag team tournament that's going to be continuing on the 28th of May at the Tecumseh Legion.
Right.
Are you going to be there? Are you going to be involved in anything?
No, I don't. I'm not going to be involved in that. I might show up just to, watch and cheer on the guys. We'll see. It depends on what my schedule's like. But again, I mean, so, you look at John Boland, a much anticipated return for him. The fans, I mean, this guy is an animal. He is, rightfully so, the BCW champion. Nothing but talent right there. And I'm glad to see him back from his injury. BCW needs him. He's a huge draw.
Yeah, he's definitely like a main event type of guy for Border City Wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and just talk a little bit more about the tournament. we have, I believe, Brent B. and Phil Atlas in the
Yep.
finals. Who you think might walk away with the championships? But I was going to say, I really do like Brent Banks. He's a...
What do you think? Brett Banks, eh?
Mhm.
That guy, here's a guy that flops around like a fish. And I mean that in the most, best way, because he's just, man, the guy's a springboard. He's bouncing around corner, pillar to post, and you can't keep up with the guy. He's incredibly agile. So Phil Atlas, having him as a partner, my point. And then Phil Atlas is a talent all on his own. I believe the blending of these two, they got a good shot at winning those titles.
Yeah, I'd like to see them walk out with it. But like you said, Brent Banks is all over the place, but he's just incredible to watch. He's very entertaining and incredibly athletic. So that's why he kind of took a liking to him. Mm-hmm. I took a liking to him. All right, so we talked a little bit about the K&M Wrestling School as well. Would you have any advice to someone who's looking to get into wrestling, at least in Windsor?
No, don't do it. No. K&M Wrestling School is one of the best schools that you could go to. You're going to learn how to do promos. You're going to learn from the best of the best. I mean, Scott has that eye for talent. Scott has done so much in the business. Canada-wide, I mean, not too many people can touch him, if anyone, as far as, what he's done and what he can do for someone that has talent. Again, he has that eye. Now, at the school, I don't know. How can I say this? Go in there. I mean, I see a lot of guys. They're not. I don't know. I like to see guys in better shape.
Okay.
I'm not dissing anybody at the school. I don't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is, guys need to tan up, and they got to look the part right away. The saying "act as if." That's what I would tell someone wanting to come to the school. Come to any wrestling school. Mm-hmm. Act as if. Buy gear. Buy real wrestling gear. Don't wear your dad's shorts into the ring with a pair of running shoes. Like, what are you doing? Unless it makes sense for your character, which, good luck with that. There's not too many that you could pull that off with, right?
Yeah.
Bottom line, get real gear. Look like a wrestler. Respect yourself. Respect the business.
Absolutely.
Look like a wrestler. Look like someone that can kick someone's butt.
And to show your passion, just like you were talking about earlier, once I believe it was Doug Chevalier, seeing that you were serious about training wrestling, then he was like, all right, I'm going to take this guy on.
Yes.
So that's a big part of it, too, is showing how serious you really are about the sport.
Yeah, you better, you got to love it with your heart and soul, man.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, not anyone can do it.
No, exactly. And also, your body, you're taking a toll, and you can sit there and people can say it's fake and it's entertainment and this and that, but you're taking bumps. Your body feels it. You can say, oh, the wrestling on a mattress. No. Mm-hmm. It's plywood, man. Mm-hmm. And you're taking bumps on that. Give me a break. After a while, you're feeling that stuff.
Yeah, it's probably the realest thing you see on TV, if you ask me.
Well, I agree with that. That's an awesome statement, and I would agree with you, man. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. And so many people watch it. Look how many look how many lives it's impacted in a positive way. Brought families together. Made me close to some cousins and aunts and uncles and stuff like that going to shows, and even opportunities to go do something with my father, stuff like that. Just as minuscule as that may sound, wrestling has done that for people.
Absolutely.
You can sit there and sit down with people and talk wrestling, and so many people know it. So many, you look at there's a football team, I don't know who it is, because I don't really follow sports, but they're doing an homage, it's like their pre-game ritual chant. They're doing a Ric Flair
promo. I can see that, yeah.
Okay.
I forget what team it is, too. I'm not a big football guy, but he actually visited them and went into their locker room and gave them like a big motivational speech. Did you see that?
That's awesome.
I know.
No, I didn't see that.
That's incredible.
I didn't see that. But my point on that is, look at all these other sports teams that imitate wrestlers, pay homage to wrestlers. Wrestling has impacted so many lives, and that's what's great about it.
All right, Clancy, this was awesome. We'll start wrapping things up. Just want to ask what's your most memorable moment of your career?
Probably, for me, when I realized my dream, 21 years old, I'm standing in a WWF ring in front of 18,000 people. Right then and there, like I said, if I never did anything else after that, so be it. I realized my dream. I'm a professional wrestler, and I'm on WWF TV.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's great to hear. Everything, this whole conversation was great. I learned a lot.
Good.
A lot
I
of
appreciate it. Thank you.
So once again, thank you for joining us, and I hope to hear from you soon.